and welcome to On the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans, for fans. The Spanish Grand Prix was ran and won across the weekend, just gone with Max Verstappen, proving he is something else at the moment. He is in an absolute league of his own, which is something to behold and something to worry us at the same time. I am joined by Tristan Pocock to discuss all things Spanish Grand Prix and Formula 1 in general. Hello, mate.
Hello, mates. Welcome back.
Yeah, back into it. I like this business of having a double header.
Yeah, me too, but it's week off next week.
We have got a week off.
This week, which sucks. But 24-hour Le Mans will fill our boots.
Is that right?
It is, actually.
Okay.
Do you know who the flag bearer is for this weekend?
No.
LeBron James.
There you go. Would not have guessed that.
No.
Is he a Le Mans fan?
I don't know. Pretty random choice.
It's unusual.
Pretty random. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to think who did it last year. The French flag. I think he's starting. Yeah, is he starting? Oh, no, is he starting or finishing it? Oh, I can't remember which one. I only see it once a year, and I don't watch all 24 hours in a row. So,
LeBron, is that French?
Yeah, mate. Maybe that's why they got him.
Le Roger.
Maybe they thought he was French.
Possibly.
Anyway, random choice, but there you go.
I know nothing.
That'll keep you busy.
I know nothing about NBA and whatnot.
No, I'll watch it just cause.
Yeah.
No other reason. Just
I don't even watch it, but it's only due to time constraints. I think I could really love it.
Yes.
We got all the goodies to get into tonight.
Lots of goodies.
We've got race rankings, thanks to All Signs. We've got the fantasy league, thanks to Dr. Auto Art. And we've got
F1.5
updates.
Do we have a sponsor for F1.5 yet?
No, but we need one.
We should get one, don't we? If you want to be a part of F1.5.
Probably one of our most famous segments.
It is actually. Got a graphic ready to go tonight too. I promised people last week I'd have one.
Yeah.
And I've got one. As soon as we finish the app, it'll be up.
Oh, you
So
might have
ready to go.
You might have got yourself off the hook.
I might have.
Data today was coming your way.
No.
So yeah, get
Never.
yourself off the hook. Well done.
Good, well done. Now you got to think about it.
Opening question. It stems from last week's.
Good.
And it's a tricky one. I probably should have given you some warning, but I'll give you two chances.
Never
here.
read the rundown.
No.
Not that wouldn't even be aware if you do a rundown anymore, to be honest.
Well, since Watsy stopped doing the episodes, and even when Watsy was doing them, I knew neither of you used them, so they were only for me anyway.
Literally the most pointless thing you ever did.
Well, it was always good for
good.
me
It was
to
good
stay
for
on
you
track.
to know, but anyway.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so yes, warning.
Imagine the episodes if you hadn't actually read them. But anyway, so going off our question last week was what were the things that we need in a man cave?
Oh, yes.
And the same question giver, which was Kingsley.
Yes.
He's followed it up with a follow-up question.
Good.
So now we've got our man cave.
Yep.
What's the funniest, or what sort of unusual lies have been told, or have you heard of being told to justify items going into your man cave?
Oh, God.
Now, you mightn't have heard any of these lies.
Oh, no.
But what lie do you think that you could run to justify? So I'll go through some of the items that we had.
You have to give me an example here.
We had a couch. We had a corner couch, remember?
Yes, yeah.
Pretend leather.
L-shaped pleather couch.
Yeah, we had a bar go in there.
Yep.
I had a beer tap
You did have a beer
going
tap.
in there.
Yep.
We had a big projector.
Yes.
We had a simulator.
Yes.
We had a big F1 graphic on the wall.
We did, yes. I'm rapt that you remember all this.
Yeah.
My memorabilia.
We had some memorabilia
on the
That's
wall.
right.
Yep.
So some of those things are not going to get past the gatekeeper to start with.
Really? I thought they were all pretty
Well,
stock, standard, sensible.
absolutely.
Items.
But there might be some things that...
Probably the keg might be the only one that doesn't get through.
Sorry?
I could imagine.
That's like the number one.
I know,
item
but that's
that
what
I've
I'm,
been looking at.
that's what I'm imagining that's the one that doesn't get
No,
through.
no. And so, but like in the past, you will have heard people tell lies as to why they need it.
Okay, yep.
And one of my mates has one of the most beautiful shed setups getting around.
Yep.
And he desperately wanted to get the kegerator on.
Yep.
And so there was a child's birthday party coming up.
Yes, fair.
And it was going to be a busy one. It was summer.
Yep.
So the justification was, well, there's going to be a bunch of dads here.
Yeah.
And everyone's staying around for dinner.
Yeah.
I'll get the kegerator.
Absolutely.
for the kids, for the dad's kids.
For the kids, to keep them quiet.
The kids' dads.
Yep.
And then we can all have a beer together.
Yep, that's fine.
There.
That's
and
fine.
I thought that was a wonderful excuse to bring the kegerator into your life.
I think that's a great idea.
And I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I like that, yep.
So, yeah, I thought that was good. To bring the kids into getting beer in your shed,
Yep.
I think is a good way. It's a really fantastic way of bringing some lives in.
I think that's a great,
Yeah.
I think it's a great, I think if we could say, like, it's a new sponsor and it's part of the show, like,
I like that.
We need to mention it.
I like that. For me, I think it'll just be like, as soon as that's good enough for us, as soon as that's in a position for us to be recording episodes, we're not going to be messing up the studio in the house.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, I think,
that would be the best way. If there was just any of those items that needed to be part of it that were frowned upon, I'd just say no. They're just they're sponsored, so we need to have them on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then the answer would be, okay, well, that's fair enough then.
Maybe we'll see.
I can imagine that's what it would be.
Tell me about race ranking.
Race ranking, a hectic 8.
What?
A hectic 8. I loved everything about the weekend. I knew you'd react like that. Oh, it was fantastic.
Hang on.
8. That's right, 8.
You knew I'd react like
8.
this.
I knew you'd react like that. I can't imagine.
Have you seen the internet?
I have seen the internet, and the internet is drastically wrong. Let me justify you why it's an 8.
Oh,
I'll finish, and you'll be like,
this.
thank goodness. We had Perez with a barnstorming drive home out of position. Really well done. We had Max. I wouldn't say barnstorming.
It was a shithouse
It was
drive.
a pretty good drive. It was a pretty good drive on the way home.
That was terrible.
We had Perez out of position driving through the field, which was really, really great. We had a Max Verstappen absolute slam dunk, grand slam, whatever you want to call it. Fastest lap, pole position, race win, etc., etc., etc. Qualified, topped it all. Tick, tick, tick. I think it's like his third one in history. I think it's the first time.
Seb used to love him.
Seb loved him too, yeah. First time he's been on pole in Spain as well, I'm pretty sure, which is good. Yep. We had 2 Mercs come to life and both finish on the podium. We had George's unusual, yet I'm kind of okay with, duck down the escape road to get bulk positions. We had Stroll up into
really
like 3rd place on the opening laps. We had
clinching at Stroll here.
Tsunoda and Zhou, which I think was probably the battle of the weekend, and they raced really well. Then we had like the penalty for poor Tsunoda at the end for Yuki. Just thought it was all good. Then we had the alternative strategy. So you had either a 2-stop, you had a 3-stop, we had alternate tyres going on, we had eyes on Leclerc, what's he's doing? The answer of that was really not much. I thought it was great. We had the new upgrades to the Ferrari, so the bathtub side pods were gone. Suddenly we had the Red Bull looking. We had Sainz qualifying on 3rd at home.
Alright, so
there's a lot going on, and it was good.
I really enjoyed the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yes.
As a Spanish Grand Prix.
Yes, me too. I'll give it an 8. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as the Spanish Grand Prix. It was nowhere near an 8.
Definitely wasn't 8.
It was nowhere near an 8.
What are you giving it?
Well, I enjoy a race if it's a 6.
Yeah.
If it's a 5, I still like it because it's Formula 1. If it's anything less than that, something's happened and we haven't really got a race.
If I'm keen to stick around for the pre-show beyond the podium, then yeah, you've got me at a really high score, which is what I did.
What could you have stuck around for this weekend?
Just wanted to hear from Leclerc, wanted to hear from Tsunoda.
Interesting.
Wanted to hear from
So
Mercedes.
it was a 6.5. The race was a 6.5, and that's an official ranking, and it's probably still generous.
Mine not official.
No. Yours is incredibly wrong. And I get mentioned this all the time, that I ask for people's opinion and tell them how wrong they are, and I think probably the world will join me in telling you how wrong you were about this one. But it's in terms of for a Formula 1 race in Spain at Barcelona.
Yes, correct.
It was a good one. Then we had a really good one 2 years ago.
We did.
That was a really good one. We went back to having a really boring one last year. And this year's was pretty good. It was a pretty good one of them. Apart from the Max Verstappen situation, which was just ridiculous. Like, it was ridiculous how much better he was than everyone else. But apart from that, I mean, yeah, it was the racing behind that was really fun to watch, and so I enjoyed every part of that. But an 8, you've got to have some business up front. There's got to be something going on up front. There was nothing.
There was heaps going on. Up front.
Not up front.
It was good.
Interesting. Massive tick to Barcelona for killing that chicane, which everyone hated.
Fabulous call.
I got some really fantastic giggles out of people who were requesting it back, because I know they were taking the piss and trying to wind people up, and I enjoyed that a lot on some of our social media posts, which is good.
Yep.
So thank you to them. But yeah, it made it a whole lot more of an interesting race, and these cars just lapped that up, didn't they? This business of them being able to travel closer together for longer. Like, people are saying, oh, we're still not getting huge overtakes. You don't want overtakes on every lap.
No,
that's not how racing should be.
No.
You just want cars to be able to travel near each other.
But
and that's what we allowed for. And we did see overtakes throughout the race. Probably lots of it to do with strategy. Strategy was fantastic this weekend. Yes, I agree with that.
Good. Yep, lots of strategy.
It was an interesting race, I thought. Yep. But in sorting out that last chicane was just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love it.
Max, let's get into the race.
Sure.
Wowee.
Incredible. And
people can talk about the fact that Max is in the best car getting around that's built for him.
Yep.
And then you just, while you're saying that, you got to look at what Perez is actually doing.
Yep.
Is it a blight on Perez, or is it just like, put your hands together, Max?
Oh, it's put your hands together, Max. He is at the absolute peak of his game. If there's another level to go to, then that's just scary, ridiculous.
There isn't there's no level at the moment.
Surely there would. I mean, it's the sky's the limit with him. But if he's got another gear to go to in terms of
if someone was pushing him, would it make Max better or would it make Max worse?
I don't know.
I heard people discussing not necessarily that question.
I don't think he'd be worse.
Because someone asked today in something I was listening to, where's Max's weakness? And honestly, I don't think he's got a weakness at the moment.
No.
The only thing they said was, well, when he was under pressure, he probably went a bit too aggressive, and he probably had a lead that he nearly lost against Hamilton that year, and he probably went a little aggressive, probably lost it a little bit. Emotion took over. He was racing a little bit.
Yeah.
So the question that I was thinking was, well, if he's got that now, because he's a different driver now.
Absolutely.
Having those championships under his belt changes everything.
Of course it does.
But once he gets pressure put back on him, is he better or is he worse?
I think he's probably better.
I think he's worse.
Really?
I think a relaxed Max is unstoppable.
I think because he knows what such an intense battle is like. I mean, I don't think the only chance that he'll get a battle like that to that level of intensity will really only come from Lewis.
Or someone else who's... I
don't reckon there's anyone on the grid that will give it, especially now. Like, let's say in 12 months' time we're here, we're ready for this round 2024 at Spain, and Lewis is up there again. The level of intensity will only come from Lewis. Because it will be, I need redemption on what happened in 21. When no one else on the grid will give him that. Like, Leclerc's been in there with that battle, but it was a respectful fight. Checo's could be a nasty fight. Like, I feel like that's the one that could go sour.
A little bit like an internal,
nasty.
A Nico Rosberg, I'm going to play over his head within the team.
I think a George battle could go nasty. Mm-hmm. I don't think a Sainz one... A Sainz would just be pretty straightforward. I think an Alonso battle would be really respectful as well. But
I would love to see that because
I'd love to see it too.
I think both of them would take gloves off.
I know it wouldn't be like anything else. But as I was saying, if we're here next year and Lewis is up there again, then the level of intensity there is through the roof. And I think because Max has already been there, he will approach it differently and therefore be better for him.
And is more mature. Well, let's not forget he's a young guy.
Absolutely.
Particularly 2 years ago when he was going through that battle. He was a young guy then.
Yeah.
I mean... Yeah, I feel like, and without knowing, it would be really interesting to see him in that battle now. I think all drivers, I mean, we see Alonso now. Alonso's really calm because everything's going really well.
Yep.
He's not being challenged by his teammate.
At all.
Much.
I'm pretty sure it's close to an absolute clean sweep other than this weekend.
Yep.
I think,
but you put Alonso in some moments where there's some heat turned up.
Yep.
I think we still see the old Alonso.
So if I just throw a couple of names at you, like we just did then, what about... All right, so like what would the head-to-head battle be against Ocon? if that eventuated. So let's
What,
say
against Max and Ocon?
Max and Ocon.
Oh,
wouldn't
Ocon put a helmet on him and he turns into a lunatic.
that'd be like a real dirty fight. That would be.
Yeah,
that would be.
yeah, I'd love to
that
see
would
it.
be Seb in Baku, brake testing up against. Like that would be a real dirty fight. That one. What about someone like Lando?
No. Honestly, I think all these racing drivers have it in them. Or they should have it in them.
Yeah.
To push. I mean, probably the knock on Bottas was he didn't really have enough to take it at Lewis. I mean, probably skill was not quite enough skill, but maybe wasn't nasty enough. Probably could be a knock on Ricciardo.
It could be like too nice.
Too nice a guy to focus on having too much fun rather than just getting in and getting the job done.
Yeah.
So no, for me, when I heard about them, or when I was listening to them discuss whether there's a weakness there, I actually think a relaxed Max in this situation is nearly unstoppable. Yeah. Because he's just so thorough and he pushes his own limits anyway, but he gets the job done so beautifully at the moment. And I think a relaxed Max is really difficult to deal with. I think the only way that you can get into him is if you put him under enough pressure for a long enough time, and then maybe that doesn't exist anymore because
Probably
we just
doesn't.
don't know at the moment.
Probably doesn't, yeah.
Perez, you were talking up Perez.
I thought he drove really well. I really, really did. He was right in it in those last few stints, but just probably didn't. I think Mercedes had done enough in the last few laps just to keep that gap going.
Which drivers did you expect he wouldn't get past in the fastest by a mile car?
Well, and this is the thing, because Perez is a little bit like what Albon was like when he was coming through the field in the Red Bull, is that he won't get to the front, but he will get to third or second.
You've seen that car get around that track.
I
that
have.
car looked absolutely as stable as like it looked like it couldn't make mistakes, that car.
But you can tell on race weekends where it's not going to work for Checo. So we haven't had that with Max yet. Miami was a prime
what I'm
example.
getting to is how can he mess this up so badly?
And I'm not quite sure is probably the answer to your question. But you can see that when he qualifies out of position, you're not sitting there on a Sunday ready to go and go, yes, Checo is going to be first, because he will struggle through the field. It'll be a great drive, and I really do think his drive on the weekend was great, but it was for me, it was always going to be third, or it was probably at the absolute best. I mean, it's going to be second. It's never going to be first. When Max DNFs, that's when it's first.
Yeah,
but it's the likelihood of that happening right now is non-existent.
Like he's had some great races.
Yes,
he's had some fantastic races,
and he can be beaten. Though I guess if you've got someone like a Lewis or a George or a Fernando who's qualifying ahead of them, and then you've got Max in front of them, he'll get to the back of that next in line. But then that's where the fight is for him. So third is a really high possibility. Fourth is a pretty high possibility. And that's probably what Merck did. They gapped him enough that it really was never going to be second.
Max came out and said that he never really saw Perez as a championship contender.
No, yeah.
And, I mean, I said that right at the start.
Yep.
And I was shouted down by some people because, how can you not give him a chance? Well, he just is nowhere near Max's level.
Do you think that the gap now in the title, because we went to Monaco and there was the opportunity to take the lead, do you think now that the gap is there and he is no longer on the cusp of taking the lead? Because you probably get nervous. Like, you think cricket, being in the nervous 90s, you're on 99, you're probably going to play a ball a little bit more tentative. So you think now with the gap being there that he's actually going to be a little bit relaxed
able to relax,
and he can go again?
Don't know. No, he won't go again.
You don't think so?
Well, I mean,
or is it just
what does go again look like?
Well, I mean, sort of like he
should be second at every race.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He could take a step back now and go and win the next two.
No. He's nowhere near that point.
It's just a case of you don't give Max any extra points in any way, shape, or form. Or whatever you give him, it's just you're not going to catch it.
He should be coming second, and that's the only pass mark for him.
Yep, that's fair.
But no, I don't give him any chance of beating Max in Canada.
Do you think this is the kind of stuff that bodes in Ricciardo's favour?
No.
That if Perez is not coming second, then this is like a fourth is what helps Dan get his foot in the door?
No.
Or a third is what helps Dan get his foot in his door?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he's doing too good a job. Like, it's one of those things like, how good do they want to be?
Yeah. Because third and fourth is not, like, Red Bull aren't interested in third and fourth and fifth.
No.
At all.
No. But, I mean, he's in second at the moment.
Yeah. But I'm talking about, like, a race weekend in general. Like they don't want a fourth place.
No.
Like they want to win, or they want a second, or to be honest, they want it in the wall because she's trying to win.
Do you think? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think they really care.
No, I do. I think they're looking at fourth going, we're not really interested in fourth.
Yeah, but I don't think they're grumpy about it.
I don't think they're
getting
grumpy
the win.
about it. Yeah.
They're getting the win. It looks good for Red Bull.
Yep.
I mean, Max would make enough bloody championship points to win the Constructors.
He
just needs
he's
Perez to chip in a few.
The Constructor on his
That's
own.
right. He probably just needs Perez to chip in a few points here and there to help him with that, which he's doing fine. I don't think Red Bull really care that much whether Perez comes second. I mean, it's great to get the 1-2s.
Yep.
But no, I don't think. I think he's going well enough at the moment. I mean, they couldn't sack a man that was second in the championship. Bottas didn't pick up seconds sometimes, and that was a problem. And so, he's ticking along all right. I can't see Ricciardo breaking into the Red Bull team at the moment. However, I wouldn't put it out of the question that we might see a spiral from Perez.
Yep.
I'm not ruling that part out either.
53 points behind.
Yeah, considering that he should have been well and truly in it 3 race weekends ago.
And Fernando's only 54 behind.
Yeah.
54, no,
that's not
sorry,
right.
that's totally wrong.
I think he's like 17. I think he's 17 or something behind Perez.
I was looking at 99, and I think he's 18 more behind Perez.
Let's talk.
Yep.
Let's talk Hamilton and Russell. The Mercedes resurgence. We saw them bring in the updates to Monaco. As we discussed, we probably weren't going to see it. We didn't really see it in qualifying either. They sort of were on and off. Lewis was really critical of the car through practice and even in qualifying.
Yep.
But eventually they found their race pace, and it was really, really solid race pace. Hamilton qualified in 5th, and that was behind Gasly. And then Russell was all the way in 12th, but then to bring it home in 2nd and 3rd, I thought was a tremendous effort.
Yeah.
And a huge turnaround. A bit of a blight on the rest of the field, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I feel like if they've made that huge step, what's everyone else doing at the moment? But massive effort. Was it good to see Mercedes finding a bit of bounce in their step? Like, it's not fixed. They're still a long way off the win, but was it nice?
Was it nice? As a fan? Not really.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't missed them not being there.
No, I haven't either, to be honest with you.
And I'm not, just as a fan, like, nothing more than just a fan of the sport in this sense that I actually kind of like that I'm not seeing them. Because I think because we saw them for so long, and I'm actually really enjoying just seeing someone else in terms of Aston. And I don't know what Alpine have had for breakfast over the last 2 weekends, but my God, they're absolutely on it. But it just, when they were 2nd and 3rd, I wasn't like, oh, that's really good. I was more like, oh.
I don't want them locked into this position.
Neither do I.
However,
I want
everyone to be as competitive as possible.
So do I.
But I'm down with this.
Yeah, I don't want to have Max, Lewis and George now for the rest of the year. I really don't, because I've enjoyed seeing Fernando in there, and I think a lot of fans have been, because he's been there, everyone's like, oh, can he just get that win? Can he get that win? And I don't want 2 people now in front of him. I really don't. So, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Merc fans. It just...
There would be...
I could go another year without him.
How annoying would this be if Max doesn't win a race and it's Mercedes that wins it? Isn't that an annoying thought?
I'm not going to be wrapped.
Unless it's George. I mean, I am a big fan of George.
Yeah.
And so unless it's George, I'm down with that. But yeah, if Lewis wins because Max doesn't, there's a real feeling of, it's like one or the other, isn't it?
Here we go.
It's one or the other.
Another 7 years of Merc domination.
No, and so, but I'm just excited to see another team that is up there.
Yep.
I'm excited to see a Mercedes which is driving well, and I'm excited to see the Lewis-George battle. I think that's going to be really intriguing. It was really interesting to see Lewis come out on the radio after the race, or while he was coming around in his warm-down lap, or whatever the lap is called, and say, great job, team, this is fantastic, back to his old statesman stuff. And then,
thanks for pushing.
And then, what a race that was from George. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. He's laying down some really good work there. But no, I'm really excited. I am excited to see maybe they can be the team that push Red Bull towards the end of the season. And I would while it would annoy me that it wasn't another team, it's back to being Mercedes or Red Bull.
Yep.
I want to see that battle because watching Max out there is boring as batshit. It's fantastic to watch Max in action, and you can sit in awe of the man, and you can sit in awe of what Red Bull's doing, but to see a contest is so much more exciting. And so I'd take a contest between Mercedes and Red Bull over no contest whatsoever.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I was really pleased to see. They'll need to get some other things sorted. It's not a finished project that they've got lots of work to do.
And you can't judge it on the one weekend too. You can't go, great, they're back, because they're not. Honestly, they're probably not.
They're not, no. But it was nice to see them take a step to competitiveness, I thought. And so, yeah, I was pleased to see that.
It'd be nice for them to take no more
Russell's race all the way from 12th through to 3rd.
Yep.
You think Perez went well? What do you think about Russell?
George is great.
Was he better than Perez?
Probably on a par.
Statistically, a bit better.
Probably on a par.
So he started one position behind him, finished one position ahead of him. So that's better.
All right. What about the pass down the escape route? Let's talk that.
Yeah, but why are you moving away from George?
No, I'm not. I'm just
Perez
saying.
All this talk.
All right. So let's say George takes those places on the racing line. Yes. Better drive than Perez.
Yeah, I was dirty on him too.
Takes him on that, but you know he didn't do anything wrong, and I think
he did.
No, Fernando in Sochi a couple of years ago, straight line that chicane.
Just because Fernando did it doesn't make it right.
It's actually it's wrong in a sense of like ethically in air quotes.
It is,
but he's actually spot on. He's not broken a rule at all whatsoever.
I understand that.
Yep.
They have to fix that rule. Because it bugs me to death.
I don't know how you fix it.
You do not gain positions, or you do not gain advantage.
So you look at it and just go, if you pass anyone in that area.
And I didn't like the commentator saying that he was ahead of Piastri at that point.
I don't think he was.
They were still competing for that corner. So if you're competing for a corner,
that's fair.
You are not allowed to have that corner.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
And so it annoyed me to death.
Back in,
that they let him keep those positions because he just gunned it and didn't have to do everything else that the rest of the field did. It annoyed me.
I mean,
he did what he was supposed to do.
Oh, the loophole is there.
Yeah.
It really is. So you're right. The onus is on F1 and Stewart's to make sure that happens.
They got to fix that little problem.
As I said, ethically, no. Did you do anything wrong? Technically, no, he didn't.
I mean, and he technically didn't really gain the positions. It's just that he didn't have to fight for them.
Well, that's, I was going to say, the advantage is he didn't have to go wheel to wheel or be off the line. He could still take his own clean line,
100%.
unopposed, and just keep it neat and tidy. And
it annoyed me a lot. But other than that, it was a great drive.
So
12th through to 3rd.
12th through to 3rd.
Better than Perez.
That's for me why it's on a par with Perez. Don't take that path, and it is better.
Carlos Sainz, how would you rate his weekend?
Oh,
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
Don't know. Meh.
Did he end up with the same side pods?
Yes.
As Leclerc?
Yes. Yep, both cars had them.
Because they didn't to start with, but that was them doing their comparison runs in practice, was it?
Yep.
And so they both ended up with the same side pods. Mm-hmm. He managed to qualify into 2nd position.
Yep. At home. Unreal. At home. You never win at home unless you lose.
Wonderful to see. It was wonderful to see.
Yep.
But then that Ferrari went backwards.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the 2nd was great. That's an awesome qualifying position. You got to take your hat off to him there. 5th, he went backwards. At the same time, we know the Ferrari's going backwards. I mean, you take the Mercedes out of there and he's 3rd.
Do you know a Ferrari fan in Australia?
No, I don't.
There's good reason for that,
I don't. I'm not a Ferrari fan. I've said that. Like, I like them, but I'm not a Ferrari fan.
I love what they represent in the sport.
I just think them as they're part of the sport. You're right. They represent so much, like but I'm not a Ferrari fan.
But your heart bleeds for a Ferrari fan.
However, my lovely other half, I feel, is becoming a Ferrari fan.
Who?
Well, lovely Kylie is
really?
Because she spotted Leclerc for the first time, and I don't think she knew who Leclerc was.
Oh, he's a gorgeous man.
And probably, that was the general. And she was like, oh, who's the Ferrari driver for 16? I'm like, well, that's Charles. She's like, yeah, I'll go for him now. I was like, okay, no worries. That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Carlos is a good-looking man too, I would have thought. Who's the best-looking man on the grid?
Probably Gasly.
Yeah, I was going to say Gasly.
I have a friend at work who, she loves F1 just for Gasly.
Yeah.
I don't think she cares what he does or what happens on the Sunday. But anyway. Interesting. So there you go. So I think they'll be on the half.
No, look, they're just frustrating. But your heart bleeds for Ferrari fans, like real Ferrari fans. Like, I don't think we can maybe categorise her as that because I'm not sure she knows how they went.
I don't know that it bleeds. I don't know.
But no, honestly, like, you think about, so they got the Kimi win. Okay.
That was a very long time ago, wasn't it?
That's what I'm talking about. And they've put in more money than anyone else since then. Every year. They've had Alonso.
Yep.
Hope.
Yep.
He was close, but they couldn't get the job done for a range of different reasons, mainly because they were Ferrari.
Yep.
They had Seb come in. They destroyed his career, made him slow. They've had these other newer drivers come in, the younger drivers come in, haven't been able to make it work. And now, like, they're just languishing in midfield now. They're now officially midfield runners.
Yep.
They could nearly be an F1.5 at the moment.
Well,
honestly, couldn't they? Like, they are just languishing. And now Leclerc turns up to a race weekend with this new package, and they go backwards in a dramatic way, and they don't really know why. And that's, for me, I'm looking at the team response in terms of, what was it? And they don't really know why. And that really worries me. When they don't have that sort of understanding, feels like they're so far from fixing it, it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a dire situation.
I don't know. What do you make of the tech upgrades?
Oh, I mean,
shocked me that they needed them.
Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, what were they going to just keep going with what they've got?
I just feel like the tub concept was actually quite good.
Well, clearly it wasn't because they weren't winning.
I don't know. Well, I think on what we've seen over the weekend, I don't know that their new direction is correct. I don't know.
They had outright pace, and I'm not knowing why they couldn't convert that into long distance pace. Obviously tyres, but why they can't convert that into long distance pace, is that because of the side pods? I mean, you're hearing teams talk so much that the side pods are actually like not even 10% of their performance. There's so much focus on them.
You look at the airflow and what it's doing with the Red Bull. You can't argue that it's having such a bigger impact than that, can you?
Well, but you look at
I just don't know. I just feel like their alternative concept actually worked, whereas Merck's alternative concept didn't work. Mm-hmm. I actually felt like Ferrari's did. So we had the two.
I think everyone's just worked out that there's so much more growth in this other model.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I guess.
Well, it clearly wasn't working because they weren't winning races.
Yeah.
And so, But it's an interesting one. Sure. But I mean, for Leclerc to finish in 11th, it is a real stain at the moment, and it's midfield action. He's
not a happy man at the moment, is he?
No.
It's just not happening.
And it sounds like Lewis is about to sign a new deal with Mercedes, which is going to break his heart too. Because I think he thought he had an out.
I don't know.
Stroll beat Alonso.
Oh, dear.
Good on you, Lance. Lawrence Lance.
Credit
both of them.
Credit to his first lap move. I thought that was very good.
Remind me?
Up into third.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, but probably credit to qualifying, too.
Probably credit to qualifying, yeah. Fernando had a scrappy weekend. I think Aston, overall, it's probably just a scrappy weekend.
Did it carry on a bit from them not being able to make Monaco win?
Nah, not at all.
Well, shout out to Mike Crack that actually proved my theory right about the fact they would have come out in front.
Not at all. Did he really?
Yeah.
What happened? I missed that.
He came out and said, look, in hindsight, going through the numbers, we would have come out a couple of seconds ahead.
Yep.
That doesn't mean we would have won the race.
No.
But we made a mistake.
Yep.
And I really respected the fact that...
It's fair enough.
You know what? We did. That's where we were at. We should have done this, but we didn't know. We were gambling.
I guess that's the growth in the team, isn't it? Their trajectory is almost vertical. So along with that steep learning curve, there's so many things that as a team they need to understand. Like, 12 months ago, they're not knowing, what do we do when a race win is on? Because what they were looking at is... well, what do we do when a point is available? Which the whole level of pressure and skill and, process behind going for just a single point as opposed to a race win would be chalk and cheese. So
I wonder whether Alonso was just a little flat after Monaco. it seems crazy for it to be flat at his home race weekend, but we know how Dan
We know how hard it is at
and
home.
Mark has copped it at home.
Outside of Seb and Lewis, you don't win at home.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yep. So I just sort of wondered, you know what? I wonder if it's just a combination of things, a bit too much pressure going on. And it feels a little bit like a few teams have taken a step when Aston Martin haven't taken their step yet. And they've got steps to take. They've come out and said they're still coming.
Could just be timing to come.
And so, it was just it was interesting to see, but it felt like a few teams have maybe just caught up to them.
Yep.
And possibly overtaken them. I mean, one racetrack is not going to tell us that story.
No, that's true.
But and particularly this one, because this one is so harsh on tyres.
And look, if they have got steps to take, I think it's great because you want to get it right first time.
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. Yeah. Yep. Just a bump in the road for the season, I think.
Yeah. But good on Lance Stroll for bringing down the king. Ocon and Alpine.
Wow.
That Alpine.
Wow.
You said something about they've made an improvement.
Is going on?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean,
What
to qualify into
on?
fourth, that was a great lap. We can say the same about Ocon last weekend at Monaco. Into fourth, that was a great lap.
Yep.
It was it was a nice little performance, but then didn't quite just top it off with the win. I mean, Gasly copping 2 penalties in qualifying, both absolutely deserved.
Yep. Definitely.
You just can't argue with those sorts of things.
No, and I like this. I like the discussion that was held on the grid. Just if it's 2 drivers, it's 3 and 3. So it's 1 driver with 2, so it's 3 and 3.
And I'm liking that they're putting it back on the team a little bit too.
Yep.
They're not just putting it straight on the driver. So it was an interesting one. A few people were wondering where his penalty points were.
I was just going to say,
because I think he's not getting them because they're putting it down to team problems.
Yep.
But he must be close. I swear he was going to get some back in June.
Yeah, so he's got 8 at the moment.
So he's lost a couple.
Yeah, and you don't get penalty points for him.
Sorry, he's been given a couple back, I guess.
So he doesn't. So he's got 1 point for exceeding track limits during the Oz Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So it expires on the 10th of July.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 2 points for speeding under red flag conditions in Japan in 2022. And then he's got 2 points for... What's the other guy? He's got 2 points for causing a collision with Seb during 22 Australia as well.
I think he must have
23.
I think he must have got 2 back recently.
Yeah, I think he has. He's got 2.
And he's
got
on 10.
So it looks like he's got 3 to come back in probably July. By the end of October, he'll have 3 back. So, yeah, De Vries has got none. Yuki's got 4. Sarge has got none. Albon's got 3. K-Mag's got 1. Hulk's got none. Valtteri's got none. Zhou's got 3. And then, I think that's probably... Oscar's got none. Lando's got 3. Sainz has got 2. Leclerc's got 1. Checo's got 2. Max has got 2. George has got 6. That's a lot. Lewis has got none. Anyone I've missed there?
Don't know.
I don't think so. Anyway, that's
no one's anywhere near him.
Fernando's got 3. Stroll's got 5.
Zhou? Oh, Gasly. So, Gasly and Ocon. I mean, yeah. Good car performance, but probably not picking up the points they needed to.
No, kind of feeling a little bit like opportunities are going begging at the moment. Feels a little bit like Haas coming out a couple of years ago. Like you're on it right now. There's probably a handful more in front of you, and you're just not taking maximum points. Yep. It's if there's 10 on offer, you grab an 8 or 6.
They wouldn't want to be sort of qualifying that high and then finishing so low in the points.
Yeah.
Next couple of times.
But credit where credit's due. They're doing great things.
There's some
Those
performance
upgrades are happening, and they are on a real upward trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. Zhou from 13th into 9th.
I thought it was a really great drive. I know the actual position itself doesn't indicate that.
Well, it does
but
in that car.
Across the race weekend...
When you think about where Bottas is...
Well, yeah. I mean, he qualified a little bit lower than expected. Made his pit stops work on probably what was the alternate strategy to the front runners. And then while he was constantly taking big steps back when he was pitting, but then drove really, really well when fighting those around him. So although the finishing position wasn't glamorous, I think the way he approached the weekend was very, very good. I go as far as say it's probably his strongest race weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to
really
agree
thought it
with
was
you.
really, really good.
You know, I tend to agree with you. And when you look at where Bottas was, he was
Yes,
nowhere
and yeah.
sort of a bit languishing.
Do you wonder if Valtteri's doing what Lewis was doing last year with George?
He's doing all the development.
He's doing the development, and Joe's just having the freedom and ability to drive the car based on its merits. Because it's very unusual to see Valtteri that low.
There's something not right about the way he hasn't been right for a few weekends.
Yeah, I get that gut feeling that it's not. You know, he doesn't. He's a very good racer.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea,
and I just wonder if he's doing the heavy lifting as the senior man in the team.
Yep,
and that's what we're seeing at the moment.
Yep, it is an interesting idea. Next team would be Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, the AlphaTauris.
AlphaTauri.
Again, probably really good. Yuki 12th, De Vries 14th, sorry.
Once again, around the points and in the points for a lot of the race, but then couldn't quite get the job done.
Poor Yuki. What'd you think of the penalty?
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been a racing incident.
No, I thought it was.
There was room. They didn't technically hit.
Yeah.
There was. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Penalty's okay. I'm okay with the penalty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's a racing incident, I can also see why that's okay.
The one thing that sprung to my mind is why did the black and white flag come out at Monaco, but then it wasn't shown here?
Yeah.
Apart from track limits. But like when we're talking racing incidents, I don't know. I just feel like maybe that could have happened. And then if that's happening race after race, that he's getting a black and white flag, then feel free to penalise him. Yeah, don't know. It was a close one, but I was okay with it. I didn't mind it too much. De Vries was in 14th. Not horrendous race weekend, but he's certainly not lining.
It's taken a little step forward, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Just a little step.
Yeah. I'm not sure that he's Formula One action at the moment when his teammate's doing what he is, but yeah. Piastri had an interesting weekend, qualified just outside the top 10, which is a real Piastri thing to do this year, which is, as we probably expect at the moment in that car. The McLaren itself has sort of pushed itself forward. There seems to be some sort of performance, but then it's very up and down.
Well, let's look at the people around him, because we said at the start of the year and the last year, what's a pass mark? And I sort of said a pass mark is just there's really no end game to his pass mark. It's just you do what you do and we're okay. So this is who we beat on the weekend. Is there anyone in this list that you feel? Was there anyone above him that you feel he should have beaten? So Yuki finished above him.
Yes, he should have beaten Yuki.
Probably should have beaten Yuki.
But not that car.
No, but then if you look who's around him, the rest in front of him, Zhou's in front of him in ninth.
But a long way in front, so obviously had a really great weekend.
Yeah, but then around him, I mean, I feel like he's ticking these names up. He beat De Vries, he's beaten Hulk, he's beaten Albon, he's beaten Lando, he's beaten K-Mag, he's beaten Valtteri, and he's beaten Sargent. Is there anyone in there that
should be ahead of him?
Yeah,
Norris should be, but
probably
we know Norris's
Lando?
race weekend didn't go the way it should have,
So there's really, if you look who's around him, outside of Yuki, which, it's going to go probably either way across a race weekend, and maybe Zhou he's kind of where he should be, isn't he?
To watch how Norris's race went after going backwards from the contact at the front at the start, it just that McLaren is just so rubbish at the moment.
Yeah.
And even though they're bringing in updates,
they wanted rain and a slow grade, didn't they?
Yeah, it's just that McLaren is just a pile of junk at the moment.
And fair.
Yeah, it's a race weekend. He was showing. Piastri was showing some real pace to the mid to the late of his first stint.
Yeah.
And he was on the soft tyres and people were pitting around him, but he was matching times okay. I was half tempted to see them go for a 2-stop or a 1-stop. Now, the 1-stop just, it turns out, was ridiculous because everyone else is doing 3 stops pretty much, all the leaders, but he was showing that he could hold on to it all for a bit longer. He got to 22 laps on the softs.
Yep.
I wondered whether they were going to throw the hards on and try and run it to the end, which might have been an interesting tactic to watch him do.
Yep.
For McLaren, I think they need to start trialling a few of those things because they're not beating teams. So I think they need to get a little bit funky with strategy and just see how it works out. But I can understand where that problem would come if you start losing 4/10 a lap. you're going to be quickly swallowed up by the field if you have to go and make that pit stop. And then all of a sudden you look like an absolute idiot. So,
that's fair.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. But no, I was really impressed with that late stage of his first stint. And then he sort of showed signs in the other parts of the stint, but then just wasn't quite fast enough. But I think it's just down to that McLaren.
Yep.
The Hasses looked all right in qualifying and then just went backwards. Albon and Sargent, bit nowhere this weekend. They're a bit nowhere this weekend. It was, I mean, Albon's always doing a probably better job for Williams than what that Williams should be.
Yep.
But, it's interesting, though. They seem to always have a strong driver and a not-so-strong driver.
Yes, I totally agree.
It's a very Williams thing to do.
It is.
Of late. Who are you, 3, 2, and 1?
My 3, 2, and 1.
Thanks to all signs, 3, 2, and 1. That's awesome.
This is going to throw you.
Oh.
This is going to throw you.
I'm not going to write them down.
You can write. You have to write them.
I don't think you deserve them. After some of your comments today.
You have to write them down. Right.
Okay, go on.
I'm going to give Zhou 3.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I thought he was great. I really do. Zhou 3. Unbelievably good drive.
I have no problem with that.
Right, good. I'm going to give Yuki 2.
I'm not so sure about that one.
I'm definitely going to give Yuki 2.
Okay.
Absolutely going to give Yuki 2.
This last point might depend on whether you get points to give out next week. I might have to give out 6, 4, and 2.
And I'm going to give Ocon 1. You're right with that.
I'm just having a look at some of the data. Qualified in 7th. Finished in 8th. Why? In a good race car?
I just think the Alpine's not. I mean, that's good, but I just think he's on a hot streak. I thought he was good.
He went backwards in a car that was looking strong.
Just thought he was good.
I'm not sure you get points next week. I'm not sure.
You can't do that.
Oh.
All right, go. Give me your...
Russell gets 3 points.
Oh, God.
12th to 3rd.
Yeah, 95% of those positions pretty much taken through the gravel.
1.
And you reckon I don't get points?
1.
2.
2 points. 2 points go to Zhou. I'm absolutely down with Zhou.
Good, rough.
Picking up points.
Yep, good.
And 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have to go to... I think it's going to have to go to Stroll.
Mm-hmm.
Out-qualified his teammate. Kept it in front of him. Nah, I can't do
Qualified 6th, finished 6th.
Nah, well, you gave it to somebody who went
just
backwards.
Gave me, you're not giving... Yeah, by 1 spot.
Yeah, well, at least he kept his position. Nah, all right. I'll give it to Max. We probably don't give that man enough credit for what he's doing.
That's what we do. We don't know.
I know, but he was just like to get all 3.
3rd Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Only
all right,
10th,
I'll give him a 1 to Max. All right. Yep. All
right, good.
Stroll nearly got some. Who's your dud of the day?
Who is the dud of the day? That's a massive call for dud of the day this weekend because I loved everything. But it has to be Nico Rosberg again for his commentary across the race weekend.
Right,
and he's running with Christian Horner.
Oh, I missed that.
He's running. So the question was, it was a really frosty sort of exchange, a little bit of a drive-by by Horner, but I kind of feel like he was being really, really serious. And it was a bit tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it probably wasn't. So on sort of the post-race, Sky were interviewing Christian Horner. Have a look if you haven't had a chance to. And then Nico's comment was, Horner was talking about just Perez's drive through the field, and he did pretty well, and he was a little bit off the pace at the end, but they were watching the telemetry and saw that he was getting better as the race went on, which I thought was a pretty fair, a pretty fair analysis of what Checo was doing. And then Perez come out, and not Perez, and then Rosberg come out and said, well, hang on, would you actually sort of say that Checo had a shocking weekend and didn't really achieve anything? And then Horner's response to that was, yeah, but you're a super critical guy, and now you're out of the car. You're pretty happy to criticise every single person on the grid every minute of every day.
Whoa, I missed this.
It was really brutal, like bang down the line.
This is post-race Sky?
Played it straight bat and just
on
said...
Sky?
Yep, on Sky. It'll be on your KOB. It only goes for a moment, but it was exactly that. You're out of the car now, so you just love criticising everyone and what they do. And then Rosberg was like, whoa, it's just a question. And then Horner played a straight bat and kept talking to Natalie Pinkham and Naomi Sheep.
Wow.
And it was just, I'm not having that. And just left Rosberg hanging. So it just, again, yeah,
Right.
Not great. Were you a little bit...
We need a little bit of honesty from their fans.
Yeah, okay.
Who the hell has said that he's good on the commentary?
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone. He had one good weekend. I remember us both praised him one weekend.
Just he fumbles through it.
Yeah, and it is just like it's not adding anything extra.
No.
He used to spend his whole time talking about, I used to get in Lewis's head. Yeah, we understood that. Like we understand that how that worked. That's great. But what else are you going to bring to the commentary?
Yep.
Yeah. No. It's a good one. Okay, I'm going to go hunt that down because that sounds really awkward.
Have a look. It's only a moment and it's really awkward.
Oh, I love it.
All right, go for it.
For me, it's got to be the FIA for giving Gunter Steiner a penalty or what was a reprimand?
I don't know. Reprimand with a slap on the wrist
for criticising the stewards for not having full-time stewards.
Yep.
Everybody is of this opinion, so you cannot possibly go and hammer Steiner for having an opinion that is absolutely universally agreed upon. That is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, that they would criticise or reprimand somebody for something that everyone believes. It's just known facts. They may have explained why they can't do this, which they should come out and tell everybody why that is, because I haven't heard them come and say that no one wants to do the job or that it can't pay someone enough to do the job, which is ridiculous because the FIA is rolling in money.
Correct.
But it's just, it's just ridiculous that they think that that's possible to reprimand a man for having a universally believed opinion.
Yeah.
You have to get out and see the fans and understand how frustrating it is to hear all these penalties going on for one thing one weekend and then it changes the next weekend. So, great call for Steiner, terrible from FIA. You get the dud of the day.
Yep. Now, I've got 2 heroes of the hour for you.
Yes!
2.
Positivity.
2. Positivity. All right, the first one is Lewis.
Yeah, go on.
For his post-race interview.
Thank God it wasn't for his outfit on the way in.
I didn't see that. With Nico, because Nico was interviewing the drivers after, and Lewis came on, and I thought,
interesting.
Like, perked up. I thought, here we go. Like, what's this going to be? What's this exchange going to be like? And full credit to Lewis, the professionalism, because he would have been talking to Nico and just thinking, get stuffed, mate. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But he was so calm and collected and down the line and answered questions beautifully. Didn't dodge anything.
Just treated him like he was another reporter.
Just treated him like he was another reporter and did his job. And I thought, absolute credit to him, because deep down he would have been going, get stuff at the last person I want to talk
Interesting.
to. So I thought it was one of the best examples of Lewis I've seen this year.
Okay.
It was fabulous.
There you go. Who's the other one?
Second one is the podium. Did you see the podium?
With the racetrack
So the podium is the shape of... awesome.
Oh,
Loved it. Loved it.
Simple things for simple minds, I guess.
Different product.
My hero of the
Different. I thought it was great.
My hero of the hour was the guy that decided that the universally, once again, popular opinion, chicane needed to go, and we got back that ability to watch to see where they could go flat. Did anyone go flat? I don't think anyone went flat in the end.
I don't think so. I think Fernando tried and come off, so it didn't really work.
I think Max was close, but he didn't really need to, and that lap sort of...
Yep.
Yeah, but next year that'll be what everyone's watching, I think, is can anyone go flat through that last?
Shame the merchandise didn't keep up with the track layout.
Oh, didn't it?
All had the chicane still.
Interesting.
And a little bit of an honorary mention, dud of the day.
Oh.
All social media that use the caption Spain, but with the S in bracket, and then the word pain afterwards, when a driver didn't get something right on the weekend. Just overkill.
Okay.
Overkill.
F1.5.
F1.5. I'm so excited. Ready to go? All right. I don't really need to run through and explain it now, do we?
Nope.
I think most people should be on it. Most people should be on it by now.
But I'll tell you what, if you're not, go back and have a listen
Just go
to
back.
the last couple of episodes
back.
and you'll get a really good rundown. If you go back 2 episodes, you'll get a really good rundown. Last week we did it again.
Yep.
It is wonderful.
Anyway, you get the general understanding of how we're going. All right.
Just realised there's a crack in my favourite Guinness cup.
How do you feel about that?
I'm upset.
Okay. All right, bottom to top, we have our first relegation of the year.
Yes.
Straight in there. So I'll explain this part.
You are ruthless.
Yep, ruthless. That's why I'm the boss. That's why I'll be a good F1 CEO.
Oh, hot take you.
Just absolutely good as. All right, so Logan Sargent is officially relegated. That's it, so gone. So we are... What are we? We're round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're round 7. He is on 17 points only. That's it. Game over. Out. Relegated. Last point score...
I want to know what the betting market is that Logan Sargent comes back into F1.5.
Last point score was Baku, and he had 4 points. That's it. So he's had 3 weekends with no points.
It's a bit of an indication on Williams, though, isn't it?
Yep.
A little bit.
So that's
They've gone backwards.
So from here on in, yes, we'll still continue to calculate Sargent's points, just on the odd chance he gets 1 or 2. But he is officially he is dead in the water. He is dead in the water. Considering our leader is on 108.
This year, we're not seeing those random
he's
results
on
where people are
way.
picking up huge results out of nowhere. So
that's it, Sargent. Dead in the water. Absolutely lock him in as dead last. 17s. For those who are Sargent fans, I'll keep calculating his points, but my goodness me, he is out.
It is a bloody shame.
He is out. Now, with a relegation, often this time of year, and often on those weekends where we have a relegation, and for those that are playing along at home, when you get to that point where you are almost mathematically out of it, which some people probably are close to already, or you have a horror run and you were just making no points, case in point, 17 points after 7 rounds or whatever, then you are relegated and you're out and you're not part of it and you are off just doing your own thing, just whatever. So often on race weekends when we have this happen, generally history tells us that we'll have someone that starts knocking on the door of entering F1.5. So for those that are out in F1 land, e.g. the 2 Mercs, the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 Ferraris and 2 Astons, sometimes every now and then we have someone knocking on the door who wants to come back into the field and be part of F1.5.
You find that happens at the same time, do you?
I do. History has sort of indicated. So we have someone who is now just popping up on the radar after the last 3 race weekends and is knocking on the door of maybe wanting to come in to be in F1.5. And that is Charles Leclerc. So his last 3 race weekends are 7th, 6th and 11th. So he's just on the radar at the moment. He's not podium finishing. He's not frequent same position points finishing. They replaced that entire rear end because I had no idea what was wrong with it. And I don't even think anything was wrong with it. So I thought,
they had the same problems for the race.
We'll just go and bolt a whole new back onto it and see what happens. So I'll tell you what, I'm giving him a 3-week watch block.
Wow.
So over the next 3 weeks, if Charles does not find his position back in the pack where it rightfully belongs, then he will be into F1.5.
Without doubt, people would have their money on Stroll being the one that was going to be relegated.
But absolutely not. Absolutely not. How do you feel about that? Just give me an immediate reaction.
Oh, I'm shocked that last year's early contender is possibly an F1.5.
Anyway, it happens.
When there's so many that aren't.
I know.
This year there's a lot of drivers that aren't in there.
Absolutely. Anyway, so that's where we are. He needs to go back. He needs to find his rightful spot, and he needs to just keep it. All right, bottom to top race weekend. Here's your podium for the race weekend. Yeah. Ocon, Zhou, and Gasly.
Ocon, Zhou,
1, 2, 3. All right.
Alpine.
Anyway, Alpine doing the goods. All right, De Vries, 31 points. Albon, 43. Hulkenberg, 47. K-Mag only added 1 point. Remember I said he had this run last year? No points. He just added 1. So he's gone from 48 across about 4 weeks to 49. Not great. Piastri, doing pretty well. 56.
Best of the rookies?
Best of the rookies. Pretty good. If Dan
in a car that's not really getting the job done.
If Dan was driving, that's probably where Dan is, to be quite honest. Zhou, 67.
Not sure that's a compliment, actually, after his last year. But yeah, sorry, who was that? Zhou?
Zhou's on 67. Bottas, should actually be under Piastri. I've put him in the wrong spot. 54 points for Bottas. Yeah, not great. Not great. Remember when he was leading a couple of years ago?
Yep.
Yuki Tsunoda. Lando Norris, 71. So 4th place. Yuki has entered the top 3.
Wow.
78 points. And absolutely in it.
Had not expected that one.
Absolutely in it. That shows you how well he's going. In 2nd place is Ocon. So last week he was in 2nd place. He was on 78 points. He picks up the race win. And he now goes to 103. He's gapped Gasly by 10 points, who is leading, but my goodness, by the skin of his teeth, 108. So there is your top 3. Gasly 108, Ocon 103, and Tsunoda 78. With Lando dropping out. So there you go, F1.5. Relegations, people back in, a new driver into the top 3. Now, fastest lap, last week we didn't have the fastest lap from Monaco, but it's here, and it actually goes to Gasly.
Wow.
So Gasly had the fastest lap in Monaco last week. So our little fastest lap award, we've got Lando on 1, we've got Hulk on 1, we've got Ocon on 1, we've got Zhou on 1, and we've got Gasly on 3. So there you go. So that's how that sort of works. And then you've got the pole position award. Gasly was also fastest qualifier this weekend too. So then Gasly's on 1, that's his first qualifying point, but Ocon leading the way there with 3 points, Albon was 1, Norris was 1, and K-Mag on 1 as well. F1.5 wrapped up nicely. Thank you to those people that were shouting down the microphone the other weekend. About an hour's time, hour and a half time, your leaderboard will be up on our socials.
Let him have
ready
it.
to go.
Let him have it.
Go.
You'll find him on socials. Get into him because he let us down, didn't he? Everyone... Someone was saying they want to see it going into the race weekend to see what's going on with the race weekend, so I don't mind that. Fantasy.
Fantasy. Oh, what a weekend for fantasy.
What
a weekend
Maybe
for
we'll move on from
fantasy.
it.
Tell you what, you got to watch those out-of-position drivers because they are the ones that are going to bring home the big points. So fantasy, thanks to Chris, Dr. Auto Art. Check him out. Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, an amazing sponsor of fantasy as always. Also does his helmets. Helmets look good. I need to put up a promo for Chris as well. So
really liked his Alonso one through the week where Alonso's got the arms
old
out.
06.
Yep.
I think that was
Loved
in
it.
Spain when he won in Spain in the Renault. So yeah, anyway, really, really good. Get around it, especially this time of the year.
Absolutely.
Grab yourself some amazing artwork from Chris. So thanks, Chris. And top 3 position finishers in fantasy will take home a wonderful piece of artwork, driver of your choice.
Geez, that artwork's going to look good in the man cave.
Will look really good. You know what would look great? A triple crown livery looking like Piastri. I'd like to see a Piastri. He hasn't done a Piastri yet. So I'd like to see, Chris, I'd like to see a Piastri.
Piastri probably needs a moment.
Maybe. Probably needs a moment.
Worthy of painting.
Well, first points might be a good one. He got first points a few weeks ago, didn't he? So that might be a good one.
Maybe.
All right, let's have a look where we are going to start. Let's start with Jay this week. 25th position. Stays pretty steady. No improvement. Total points, 2,003 points for Jay. 286 points across the race weekend. 92 for Max. 14 for Gasly, 14 for Alonso, 27 for Checo, 3 for Hulk, and then the Red Bull and the Aston, 96 and 40 points respectively. So that's where Jay's kicking around. Mm-hmm. You are not doing too bad.
Yeah.
You're not doing too bad. 18th, so you're up.
My goal was to get in the top 20, if you remember.
I do. So you're doing all right.
I'm going to retire now.
You're sort of thereabouts.
Yeah.
You're actually not that far off. We're getting close to the top 10. So yeah, only needs a DNF. Minus 20 points to a DNF. So you're on 2016. You're 286 points on the weekend. You have the exact same team as Jay. So that's sort of where you were for that one too. And then my good self, I'm back. Second. I'm back up in the second. I don't think I was second last week, was I? I was third. No, I dropped out to fourth, but I was third. Anyway, so I'm second.
On even points?
On even points, yeah. So I think I actually had a look at that, how that works. I think I scored the more points on the weekend with Zhou, so that's why that gets me up into second. So anyway, Julian PD, coming for you, my friend. If that is you and you are listening, please get in touch, because it would just be good to chat fantasy, a little bit of a healthy rivalry. And Nando for World Drivers' Championship, if that is you as well. If you're in the top 5, get in touch, because I just love chat fantasy with you and see how you're going. So, 2,154 points for my good self. Mm-hmm. I had 301 for the weekend. 92 Max, 27 Checo, 14 Alonso, 16 Stroll, and 16 for Zhou. So that's the big chunk there. Nice weekend for Zhou.
Was a good pickup.
I made the mistake of putting Yuki in last week, and thank goodness I didn't put him in this week, because Zhou was better overall. And I've got the Red Bull and the Aston. You know, I had a bit of a play around. I reckon that's the best team you can actually put together at the moment without redoing your whole team. So, we'll go through top 5. WW Jolien PD, 2,168 points. So I'm only 14 behind him. Me in second, 2,154. Equal second, Nando for World Drivers' Championship, 2,154. Stop Inventing Team, 2,146. And Red Bull Catering Fund, favourite name out of the whole fantasy league, 2,139. And then just sort of sitting out in 6th, just party in the back. Just want to mention that too. So anyway, so that's fantasy top 5. As always, still like to go down the bottom, all the way down the bottom, because we've got 66 runners, which is terrific. Like, by the way, to have that many people in our fantasy league. So 66 runners. So I'm just going to give a shout out to Dave88, who is holding up the bottom end, because, you know, a ladder can't exist without someone holding it up. And poor Dave, 1,003. 1,003. Not where he wants to be, I don't think, Dave. So I'll quickly run through Dave's team. This is where sort of big names don't get you big points here. Lewis, 78.
Yep.
Lando, -2. Valtteri, 2. Sainz, 19. De Vries, 6. The Merc, 65. And the McLaren, 11. So there you go. To give you sort of insight into that, if you have Sainz, you got what? You got 2 more points than what Stroll did, but he cost you $10 million more for those 2 points. So anyway, so big names don't always bring big points. Anyway, that's it, fantasy for this week. Thanks to Chris, Dr. Auto Art. Thanks to everyone who's taken part of it. And as I said, if you are a top 5, get in touch. And Dave88, if you're out there, get in touch too.
There's some real arrogance coming from you in fantasy at the moment.
Yeah, I'm second.
With your
second
high results for once. Don't know how I feel about it. I'm just looking. I've got Nico Hülkenberg. How much do you reckon Nico Hülkenberg is worth at the moment?
To be about 5.5.
3.8 million. So I can literally not get rid of him at the moment.
Yeah.
Without doing a wholesale changes around other people.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a bad way.
Okay.
Moving into some news. Any news that you want to discuss at the moment? It's all fairly quiet at the moment.
It is all fairly quiet, isn't it?
Teams have got their heads down. This is why. Teams have got their heads down, working on bits and pieces, trying to get their car to be running as best as possible, because this is absolute development and getting developments on cars and getting developments to happen. And so, it's just like teams got their heads down, and so there's very little news at the moment. A couple of bits that I've seen is Lewis is sort of back to being quite heavily back to be in Mercedes for another year or two.
Yep.
I'm hearing that they're looking for a 2-year deal this time round rather than just do the 1-year deal.
I get a gut feeling.
He's a bit sick of renegotiating.
I get a gut feeling it'll be a 1 year with an option of 1 more. I don't know that it's going to be 2.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I don't know. I think Lewis is probably a bit sick of doing this business of having to go through negotiations over and over and over. So, and so the other thing is Tristan's showing me notes.
Notes for you.
I can't do 2 things at once.
You can do 2
You're
things at once.
You're the person who can work out F1.5 scores while we discuss things.
I'm very talented.
I can't do that bit. So anyway, contract talks. I mean, I imagine we'll probably see. I can't imagine we'll see anything before the summer break. I think we're in Formula One mode at the moment, and the teams are really in Formula One mode at the moment. But I don't know. We might see a Lewis announcement sooner rather than later, possibly, just to get it out of the way.
Do you think the race weekend helped massively?
Yeah. I think it helped his confidence in the team.
If he finishes 6th on Sunday, is he super keen to sign?
Which Sunday? Last Sunday?
This Sunday just gone. If he finishes 6th in Spain instead of 2nd, how quickly is he telling us that he's going to sign?
I think everything depended on how this car behaved.
No, I think so too.
With the updates.
I think if he finishes 6th, we're not hearing much about it.
I think everyone's hung out to dry for a long time, if that's not the case, whereas I think he's like, all right, I can see we're back on track. Yep. Which, you know what, I think that's fair enough, to be honest with you.
I think so too.
I think it's absolutely fair enough.
Yep.
There's lots of talks around tyres and the tender for tyres. Pirelli's obviously got the tyre tender at the moment, with the cars having them, but Bridgestone have sort of ramped up talks. Sometimes you're not really sure whether that's a real thing or if that's F1 just saying to Pirelli, look, Bridgestone are really keen, you're going to have to really up your game and give us a really great deal to have your tyres on our cars. It's sort of, one of those things that is, it's an interesting one. People don't really like talking about tyres. I thought the tyres played a really crucial role on the weekend. I'd love to see that sort of strategy for Monaco.
Yes, absolutely.
And we talked about that last week, where we saw tyres sort of go off real quick.
Yep.
Apart from that, it was all...
Bridgestone as well.
That's what I said.
Yep.
Bridgestone were the ones that are in
Yeah,
talks.
sorry.
Yep. Yeah. So, and that's around about it.
It's quiet weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
Quiet weekend.
Next race weekend is... Oh, sorry, not next weekend, but the next race weekend is off to Canada. Yep. I love the Canadian Grand Prix.
I do too.
I have all sorts of concerns that Red Bull's going to be incredibly strong there.
Yep.
But, yeah, I do love the Canadian Grand Prix. Really looking forward to seeing what's going on behind Max. But, yeah, I would have thought that Max is going to be just as strong there, if not stronger than the weekend.
Yep.
Which is scary to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us. And we'll be back soon. Goodbye now.